What's going on? Born for Sports. And it is time for the playoffs. For those who are new to the channel, appreciate you like and subscribe to Born for Sports. Well, Knicks fans, we have made it finally. The 82 games is over and it's time. It's time for playoff basketball. It is time for Knicks playoff basketball, and it starts Saturday night. And the New York Knicks take on the Detroit Pistons. Well, today's our preview that we're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about this series. We're going to talk about a lot of things that need to happen, keys that we need to happen as Knicks fans for us to move on to round two. Well, regular season, Detroit had our number, it seems, sort of, kind of. There's reasons for that. A lot of times the Knicks didn't have a full team out there. They rested players in a couple of times, and we had some injured players. But Detroit got a couple of wins on us this year. When the Knicks were healthy, however, they blew them out by 30-plus points in Detroit. So we're going to see how far both teams have come and who's been more ready and more playoff ready to go on to the next round. And it's been a long time since these teams have played in the playoffs. As an fellow OG Knicks fan like myself, I do remember those battles back in the days in the 90s basketball. Another time, what a time to be allowed to be a basketball fan, but that's a story for another day. But there was a time where the Detroit Pistons, they were one of the marquee franchises in basketball. The dynasty of the bad boys, and there was some battles between the Knicks and the Pistons in those times. And lifetime, the Knicks are 7-8 against the Pistons, so they have had some battles back in the days, in the 80s and 90s and so forth. And one series that always between these two teams that always I remember was the last time they played, actually. 1992. The Knicks won that series 3-2 in the round one. And it was really the official ending of the Bad Boys dynasty. And the Knicks ended that. And it really was that series that kind of showed, hey, the Knicks were on their way to becoming, a future as one of the powers going forward in the Eastern Conference. They were kind of like that young middling team that was trying to figure it out. And, that was when Riley got there. Riley got there and, it changed a lot. It changed a lot. It changed a lot what was going on at that time. And it ended what Detroit was about. Now, Detroit, about 10 years later, we all know 1994. I shouldn't say 1994, 2004, I believe. Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, they went on to have success. But that bad boy team was a dynasty. So that was one of the ones that really stood out to me as an OG Knicks fan at that time growing up. Like, hey, we finally beat a team in the playoffs that mattered, that is important. Maybe we're the next in line, because the Knicks were all about grit, toughness, and defense is what Detroit was all about. And they kind of stood up and said, hey, we the new team that's going to be play that bullies type of basketball. So, yeah, that one stuck out to me. And that was the last time the Knicks and Pistons actually played in the playoffs. So, hey, that's a history lesson. It's about now. It's about going forward, the New York Knicks, seeing if they can make the run in this Eastern Conference, man. And I'm going to give you guys my 3 keys to winning this series, because I feel there's some advantages the Knicks have in this series that people don't want to talk about. I kind of like the prisoner of the moment thing. But I think this Knicks team is ready to rock. I really do. And I think they're hearing a lot of talk. They're hearing a lot of talk, about how, maybe they're not playing good enough right now and they can't turn it on. But I'm telling you right now, I think that this Knicks team ready.
I like you a lot.
And I'm going to give you my keys. Number 3, Cat. He must stay out of foul trouble to exploit his edge in the matchups. And listen, this Detroit Pistons team, they want to frustrate defensively, and they do a good job of doing what they do. They really do. They play good defense. They're physical, and a bigger staff coach team. That's what he's about. He had it with Cleveland. They want to play that kind of physical. You know what I'm saying? So Cat's got to be careful. He's got to stay out of foul trouble because the matchups are there. Okay. Darren is a good player, but he can't guard Cat. Stewart is a good player, solid defensive player for what he's about. Nothing special, but he's an instigator and an antagonizer. He likes to get physical with players. He can't guard Cat if Cat can stay out of foul trouble for 48 minutes. I'm sorry. Okay, Cat has to know on defense what they're trying to do. Don't pick up the silly fouls, man. Don't pick up the silly fouls because at the end of the day, the matchups are in his favor. They can't guard him out in the three. We all know the problems with Cat. He's one of the best scoring, shooting bigs in basketball. He can take it out to the three. He can go one-on-one. He's got to stay out of foul trouble when the other shoe's on the other foot. So if he does that, I like our chances a lot.
I like you a lot.
My number 2 key. The Knicks have to be gritty, man. They got to play on the glass. They got to attack the glass in defense, okay? Now, this Detroit Pistons team, you know who they remind me of? They remind me of the 2021 New York Knicks, okay? They remind me of the 2021 New York Knicks that had Julius Randle, a young R.J. Barrett, Reggie Bullock, and young Quickly, and young Toppin, and Elfrid Payton. They weren't Derrick Rose. They weren't a talented team, but they were a gritty team, and they played a style of basketball that worked for them to get to the playoffs that year. That's what this team reminds me of, playing them. And I just think the Knicks have to show the grit that I saw last year. Now, the grit hasn't been really showing this year. Injuries, I think, has played somewhat of a part, but the identity of this team kind of shifted now towards more of a high-scoring team. And, with Mitch not being available for most of the season, that hurt the rebounding. But I just think you're going to have to do that against this team. You can't let Detroit bully you, man. You can't let them bully you with physical play and frustrate you and, attack the glass. Defensively, the Knicks have matchups they can do well, but they gotta stick to what they do well, and that's the key. They can't get into foul trouble, and they gotta just do what they do. But I need to see the grit. Now, in the playoffs, you gotta play gritty and you gotta play defense because not everything's gonna be perfect schematically wise. You gotta be ready to make adjustments on the fly, Wink Tibbs, but the will. The grit, I need to see it because I know Jalen Brunson going to bring it. I know Josh Hart going to bring it. Okay? I know Mitch going to bring it if he's healthy. This team going to bring it. But I need to see guys like Cat, Bridges. Okay? I need you guys to bring it. OG going to bring it. I need to see the dogs return. That's what we saw last year in the playoffs. The Knicks last year were injured and were not a 100% team. They played and did it with grit. They did it on that end and just the will to want it more than the other team. We need it now. It's playoff time. There's no more coasting through the regular season to get to the playoffs, playoff positioning and getting guys healthy. Brunson's back. Cat is good. You know what I'm saying? All these guys are coming back, having some time off, from the rigors of the regular season. It's time to bring the grit for 48 minutes. And my number one key to winning this series is they got to defend Cade without doubling. Okay? And I'll get to the key matchup where I think it can happen. Because listen, Cade is an ascending player. He is really good when he's on his game. You know, he can distribute the basketball. It makes his team better. His jump shot is improved from long distance. You know, he's a big body playing the one. He's a matchup that can give teams problems. But the key is to get him, to contain him. He's going to get his, but you got to contain him without having to double him, because they have players that can hurt. He wants to do that. He wants to get all the attention so that way he can make it easy for his teammates, okay? They got some shooters on that team that if you leave them open, like Beasley, okay, he can hurt you. He can hurt you. Like Tobias Harris. He can hurt you if you give him matchups. You know what I'm saying? Dennis Schrader's, he's another one. I can't stand him. You know, he's overrated, but he's capable of having games where he's just hot. Okay? You got to make it difficult on that. The Knicks have enough to contain those players, and they also have enough to contain Cade. Okay? The Knicks have to do it like that. If you can't contain Cade, then they're going to extend this series longer than the Knicks are going to be comfortable of. And that's not something we can see. This team, you can't, when you have your opportunity, you got to stomp on the neck, and the Knicks have to do that. And the way they can do it is my key matchup. The key matchup to watch is OG Anunoby against Cade. OG is one of the best two-way wing defenders in basketball. This is why you pay him the big bucks. He's had a great season. He's had an improved season, especially when Brunson went out. He took his game to another level. This is the time you want to use those matches. Now, I know Bridges will have his looks at K2, but to me, if I'm Tibbs, I'm not messing around with it. OG's our best defender. You put him on the best wing player, and he can match up with K. A lot of what K Cunningham does against other teams is when he's playing the one, his size is a matchup problem. Well, the Knicks have a unique situation where they have two wing defenders who have the length to match up. But I want OG on him because OG is one of the best two-way defenders, as I mentioned, and he will make life difficult on him. So that's what I need to see from the Knicks. So let's see if Tibbs does that. So salute to Knick Nation. Let me know how you feel about this series in the comments, how long you think it's going to go, and what do you think the Knicks need to do to make sure they don't play with their fool and take care of this series. Because, listen, if you break it down, in my opinion, the Knicks have five of the best players in this series. Five of the top six players are on the Knicks in this series. So they just got to take care of business, okay? They got to take care of business. Brunson, Cat, OG, Bridges, Hart. Cade is great. You put him up there after Cat. But five of those six players are on the Knicks. And my prediction, Knicks in 5.